So hey, you can't build a PC or don't have a budget to get one? Well, that's where I come in. Let me be of assistance. And yeah, you can thank me by subscribing. So okay, for you today I've got 5 laptops that will justify your money that you're paying for it, and also we have special few laptops apart from these 5 at the end. So without a further ado, let's get to this, shall we? And yeah, the list goes from okayish to best. 5 being okayish and 1 being the best, just so you know. So for number 5 we have MI Note 14. The processor is Intel 10th Gen i5 U series and the speed is 1.6 GHz base and 4.2 GHz boost. It has Nvidia GeForce MX 250 graphics, 2 gigs. The display is anti-glare 14 inches diagonally. It has RAM 8 GB, DDR4 clocked at 2666 MHz. For storage, it has 256 gig SATA SSD, and for the ports, it has 2 Type A USB 3.1 Gen 1, 1 USB 2.0 and 1 HDMI. And the battery backup on this is 46 watt hour. So if you are into thin and light, then this should be the one for you. Next up on the list we have, I'm not gonna spell that, let's just call it ASUS Ryzen 5 quad core for sake of humanity. It has 2500U as its CPU, which is running at 2 GHz base and turbos up to 3.6 GHz. It has Nvidia GeForce GTX 1050 4 GB graphic card. It has display 15.6 inches diagonally and the resolution is 1920 by 1080. For the RAM we have 8 gigs DDR4 clocked at 2400 MHz. In terms of storage, it has 1 TB hard drive, M.2 slot for SSD storage expansion. Ports, it has Ethernet RJ45, 2 USB 2.0s, 1 USB 3.0 and 1 USB 3.1 Type C. It has 1 HDMI port, and if you are looking for version it is 1.4. It also has a full-fledged SD card reader. In terms of battery, it has 48 watt hours. If thin and light had babies with gaming laptops, this would be their kid. If you are into thin and light and want to game, then get this one. So number 3 placement is kinda weird, but I'll justify as I go through it. So for number 3 spot we have HP Pavilion 15 EC. This has Ryzen 5 3550H, base clock 2.1 GHz and turbos up to 3.7 GHz. It has graphic card from Nvidia called GeForce GTX 1050 3 gigs. Yes, 3 gigs, you heard that right. You might ask me, are you dumb? Like, the previous laptop had 4 gigs of 1050 and why this has 3 GB and why is it on number 3? Well, that processor is Ryzen 2500U and this is Ryzen 5 3550H. Here's a benchmark for you to see which processor is good. In terms of display, it has a 15.6 inch panel diagonally. Resolution is 1920 by 1080. RAM we have 8 gigs DDR4 clocked at 2400 MHz. In terms of storage, we have 1 TB hard drive, and for ports we have one RJ45 Ethernet, one USB 2.0 Type A, one USB 3.1 for data transfers only, and one USB 3.1 Type C for your data transfer. It also has HDMI card reader. In terms of battery, it is 52.5 watt hours. So for number 2 we've got ASUS TUF let's rename this to ASUS TUF Ryzen 5 3550H. Who comes up with those names? So yeah, names apart, let's see what this has. It has AMD Ryzen 5 3550H 2.1 GHz base and turbos up to 3.7 GHz. In terms of graphics, we have Radeon RX 560X 4 GB. In display we have 15.6 inch diagonal screen, resolution of 1920 by 1080, and for RAM we have 8 GB DDR4 clocked at 2400 MHz. In terms of storage, we have 1 TB hard drive. And for ports, it has RJ45 Ethernet jack, one USB 2.0, two USB 3.2, one HDMI port. If you are into the version of HDMI, somehow it is 2.0, and the battery in this thing is 48 watt hour. So yeah, the number one spot is copped by Acer Nitro 5 AN51543. It has Ryzen 5 3550H 2.1 GHz with turbo boost up to 3.7 GHz. Graphics AMD Radeon RX 560X 4GB. Display 1920 by 1080 15.6 inches across. For RAM it has 8 gigs 2400 MHz. Storage it has 1 TB of hard drive. And ports it has RJ45 Ethernet, one USB 2.0, two USB 3.1s, and one USB 3.1 Type C, and one HDMI port. If you're into version again, it is 2.0. And for battery, it is 55 watt hours. You might ask, number one and number two are like extremely same in terms of specs. So what made you choose number one and number two? Like, what is the deciding factor? It's the Type C port actually. And yeah, number one position is little bit complex. And if you want to buy this laptop, it has tons of variants which cost more. Also, yeah, for those special laptops, you can buy renewed laptops from Amazon. Keep an eye out for them if you're into hardcore specs for less money, but with a caveat of having less warranty period. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.